Hello there, everyone. It is Dr. Siobhan here, back with you to talk about this topic of self-care. If you've been watching over the past couple of days, I've been doing a 4-part live stream series all about self-care, which has been eye-opening for me, and I hope that you have had some good insights, some good motivation and inspiration to begin to take better care of yourself, because it's so important. And I kicked off this live stream really talking about why self-care is so important. And there I really talked about some of the things that every woman needs to know about self-care. One of those topics within that first live stream being that self-care is not a luxury, that it is an absolute necessity. We need to put it into our day like we put brushing our teeth and eating and all of that good stuff. So definitely check out that first live stream if you missed it. The second one was 3 ways you unknowingly neglect yourself and how to stop. And one of the things that I mentioned in that particular live stream was this comparison syndrome, how we can look at what other people are doing, the lives we believe they're living, the accomplishments we see them making, and it can sort of diminish the greatness within ourselves. And really neglecting yourself, as I defined it in that first that live stream, was all about not recognizing your own greatness within you. So check that one out if you didn't catch it. And then yesterday I was on talking about self-care practices of extraordinary women, because after all, we all are striving to be extraordinary in some way, shape, or form, right? Like ordinary just isn't cutting it anymore. We want to be extraordinary. And so I talked about some of those amazing practices that people who we likely admire have been able to incorporate into their lives. So you definitely want to check that out. One of the things that I mentioned in that particular live stream was they have a mentor, which was kind of an interesting thing, right? You see these people like Oprah and you're like, wait, Oprah has a mentor? Like, what is that about? And I think the concept there that I shared again yesterday was all about having someone that can actually pour into you, rather than you always being the person that people pick your brain, or people come to you for advice, or people need your help with things, but that you have someone actually depositing into your life. So that was what was on the live stream yesterday. Excuse me as I get all tongue-tied here. Tanisha, hello, hello, hello. So today, though, I'm talking about 3 requirements for great self-care. And I know, again, we all strive and know that we should take better care of ourselves. Yes, good night. You tripped me out with the good morning. I was like, is she in another country where it's morning? So yes, good night. Good evening, right? Good evening. Anyways, so 3 requirements for great self-care. I'm going to hop right to these so that I can let you get to implementing some of these things. It's fine. Listen, I hardly know what day it is, so Tanisha, it's totally fine. Totally fine that you thought it was morning. So the first requirement for great self-care is that you have a way to get into the presence of God. And that's important for a lot of different reasons. One, because He's our creator. And I think a lot of times we know that we should be doing those things, right? We know we should be praying. We know we should be reading our Bible. We know we should be going to church. We know that we should be doing, some form of praise and worship. Like, we know all of those things. We're taught that we should be doing all of those things. But I don't know that we fully recognize why that's so important to our overall well-being, right? It's not just checking something off of our good girl list because we're, a good believer, we're a good Christian or anything like that. But it really is, I feel like when you have a direct line to God, when you have a way of really being in His presence and feeling His Spirit within you, right? We know Him intimately and He knows you intimately, that you're just taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your soul, which is really the essence of who you are. right? We are like bodies, of course, but at our core, right? At our core, we are really spirits and souls. And if we're not feeding our soul, if we're not connecting our soul to our Creator, then we really miss the mark on taking care of ourselves, because at our core, there's some void that having a relationship with God, having a relationship with Christ is the only thing that can actually fill for us. And so it's really important that you consider connecting with God on a daily basis as a requirement. Like whether that's 2 minutes, right? Whether that's listening to your favorite, song that really reminds you of His goodness and His love for you. Whatever it is, just make a commitment to now make that a requirement, part of your daily to-do list, right? Again, just like getting up, brushing your teeth, finding some way to get into the presence of God as a requirement for your self-care. Number 2 is being willing to ask for help. So I am just like you, thinking that I am Superwoman, that sometimes it's easier for me to just do it on my own rather than trying to explain it to someone else and trying to get someone else to do it. I get it, right? And a lot of times we make up this story in our minds that we are the best person to do it. Like, no one's going to do it exactly how I want it done, so I just might as well do it. What that creates is a lot of stress and overwhelm for ourselves, where we then, are now burdened with all of the things because we're trying to do all of the things. And I find that whenever I can just ask for help, whenever I can just reach out to someone else and say, you know what, I need your help. I need your help, and this is exactly what I need you to do. That, yes, do I work through the guilt, right? Because again, we burden ourselves with so much, we don't want to burden others, but it always makes life easier, and it always results in less stress. And so I am giving you permission, like right now, I'm giving you permission to ask for help and to consider that a requirement for your own self-care, that you cannot, should not, will not do it all, right? There are so many people in your life who want to help you in the smallest of ways and the biggest of ways. And when you try to do it all on your own, you don't give them the opportunity to be there for you. You don't give them the opportunity to love you and to help you and to serve you, which a lot of times is probably their honor to do. So that's requirement number 2. Requirement number 2 is that you ask for help, okay? And requirement, I don't know why I can't talk tonight, y'all. I can't talk tonight. Yes, how do you find time in the morning when you wake up at 4:30 a.m. to get the kids ready for the bus coming at 6 a.m.? Tanisha, well, I know that struggle. I know the struggle. My kids are not on a bus just yet, but they are very unpredictable with their waking patterns. And so I think it's still knowing, right? So if the morning when you wake up at 4:30 is just not the time for you, like really you wake up and you have to get going, doing all the things to get your children ready for where they have to go, I think you find another time, right? Maybe it's right after they get on the bus at 6, right? Carving out just 10 minutes. I know for me, I try very hard to wake up before my children so that I have my own quiet time. But then you go on, oh, your husband is overseas. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I know that's really tough. And so I guess, if we were on the phone talking together, I would really sort of walk through your daily schedule and see where you can carve out that time for yourself. So I think literally you may need to just spend 5 minutes plotting down what you do from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, and to see where you can just carve out 10 or 15 minutes for yourself. That may mean going to bed 15 minutes later if you can stand it, right? I know that when you wake up so early, it's like really, really hard to go to bed any later than you do because you need the sleep. I don't know if there are other time stealers in your day that you can pay attention to. TV is one of those things that I often ask people to just check in with themselves about. Like, are you watching a lot of TV? Is that something that maybe you can DVR your show and spend 10 or 15 minutes just centering yourself? So I hope that was helpful. But usually what I do is when I work with clients, I actually walk through their day, literally. I'm like, okay, what do you do when you wake up? What do you do here? And then I find time where they can do that. Another thing that you might try, I'm not sure what your personal work commute is. If you, you know, drive to work, take the train, the bus, whatever. But if there's time that you can use while you're commuting to work. So I don't know if you typically listen to the radio or anything like that, but multitasking, right? Because if you got children, you're a mom and your husband is overseas, you're always multitasking. So I think it's finding the right balance of multitasking for things that feed your soul and that energize you and help you to feel better. So I would encourage you, and I think I mentioned this a little bit on the live stream yesterday, to try to identify the things that you may be doing that actually don't add value to your life, right? And so TV is often one of the first ones that I suggest people consider scaling back on a little bit. Listen to the radio if you do that. If there's something more soul fulfilling that you can use during that time, that might be a good place to start until you can actually get, you take the bus. Okay, great. So then if you take the bus, you could totally just have something that you listen to, right? One of the things, and so I don't know what self-care practice you personally want to start trying to implement, but the easiest thing if you're taking the bus would be to just go ahead and plan to listen to certain things on your bus ride. So I cannot stop recommending something that I love personally. It is, hey Orlando, it's this app called Abide. It's an app that you can get. I have an iPhone, so I know it's on the iPhone. I'm sure they have some version for Android, but it's an app that you can listen to. It has prayers, meditations. They're broken up by different topics. So if there's something you're struggling with or some area of your life you really want some encouragement in, you can listen to that app, and they have, you know, sessions that are like, you can select, like, I just want to listen to it for 10 minutes. I want to listen to it for 5 minutes, 2 minutes even, is worth your while to just check that out. So that's what I would recommend for you there. So again, requirement number one is to get into the presence of God. Requirement number two is to ask for help. And then requirement number three is to stay connected. And this was so important for me. Again, I have a 1 and a 3-year-old. And so when I had my daughter, who's now 3, I left the workforce to become, you know, home with her and then start this business. But it's, you know, I work primarily from home. And it was a very isolating experience where, you know, the connection I had with people was really just virtual, right? Like a text message here because everybody texts, maybe an email, maybe a Facebook message, things like that, that I wasn't able to like really engage with people, right? I think technology has made it so easy for us to be like one-hit wonders in people's lives rather than building meaningful and real relationships. And so one of the things on my self-care list is to connect with other people. And so I have, you know, friends. I have a list of friends, literally. I have a list of friends that I try to have like a rotation where it's like, okay, this week I'm calling these people and this next week I'm calling these people, and be selective about who you reach out to, right? Again, you want to be connecting. Yes, the app is called Abide. It's Abide. I'm going to actually see if I can write it in the comments. Hopefully I'm not doing too much. Okay. So Abide is the app. Yeah, Abide. So I have certain people that I call, and they're people that I know. It's sort of like, and you have your friends, right? You know the friend that you can call when you just need a good laugh. You know the friend you can call when you just want to trade crazy stories of what's happening. That connection is so important. And then I also really highly recommend that you make the time to connect with new people. There's something about meeting new people, even if you're an introvert and you don't really like to go out that much. There's something about being able to do that in a safe space that, again, feeds a huge and critical part of who we are as human beings. So we were created for connection, right? We were not created to just live life alone, right? Which is why right after God made Adam, who did he bring? He brought him Eve, because our human nature is to be able to connect with other people. How do you meet new people? That is a great question. Tanisha, tell me where you live, first of all. So obviously I have to put a plug for what I do, because I actually have started doing a lot more in-person and live events, but most of my events are on the East Coast. So between New York, New Jersey, Philly, Baltimore, DC, even all the way to North Carolina, I do live events. I will be venturing out, hopefully, next year, God willing, to some other locations. So definitely tell me where you're located, Tanisha. But outside of that, right, I honestly would suggest, and this is sort of a weird tactic, but I don't know if you've ever been on Eventbrite. So Eventbrite is a place where people list events, even on Facebook, actually. You can probably find events, I'm sure, here on Facebook. But you can scroll through Eventbrite or any, event thing. Meetup is another website that you can find ways to meet other people. And just see what's happening. Like, I actually go on Eventbrite pretty regularly, especially when I want to network, to see, like, you can search by where you live. And you can pull up all the events that are happening. You can read about them. Many of them are free, and just put yourself out there to go. So that's one thing. Yep, please type it, eventbrite.com. There you go. But yeah, tell me where you are, Tanisha. I may know some other people that host meetups in your area that I can definitely refer you to as well. And then I'm pretty sure even on Facebook, there are probably more social groups that just gather women together for events. So I highly encourage you to seek those out as much as you can. So yeah, so Harbor View, okay, what state is that in? I'm not an A+ student in geography. I'm an A+ student in other things. Harbor View, Michigan? Is that Michigan? I'm not going to embarrass myself. So you tell me what state. Tell me what state that is, Tanisha. I may know some, like Kingston. Like Kingston, Jamaica? Are you Jamaican? Okay, give me some more details, Tanisha, about where you're from. What country? Is it U.S.? Are you in the U.S.? Or are you in Jamaica? Kingston, the only place I know is in Jamaica. Okay, now I'm like all distracted because I'm like, where are you? It sounds like it may be Jamaica. So I don't really know much about social events in Jamaica, but guess what? I would love to come to Jamaica to do one of my events, if that's where you live. I actually spent some time in Jamaica once for a summer doing some research there. But anyways, so I don't know if they have Eventbrite there, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not quite sure if they do. But guess what, Tanisha? If you are a outgoing person, right, you could probably create something yourself. So the other thing is Meetup. I'll put that in here, .com. I don't know if Meetup is international. Maybe it is. You could organize your own Meetup. So that's what a lot of people do. You just organize your own meetup, and then people going on there looking to connect with others can find you and find the events that you organize. So I would start there. I mean, you can just, if you have already a few friends, just pull them together and tell them to invite one other person, and you guys go out for dinner or go out to a movie or go out and do something. fun together. That would be my suggestion. And even if that's not possible, right? So if it's not possible to actually go out physically with people, then just make a phone call, right? Just make a phone call, Skype call if you're international, to just talk with somebody like regularly. And it doesn't have to be a long conversation. It can literally be like 5 or 10 minutes, but you'll find that you're energized after just making that connection with someone else. If it's the right person, right? So you got to be selective about the people that you reach out to. You don't want to surround yourself with people who always bring you down. So think about your friends, think about the people you currently know, and who are the people that always lift your spirits, where you talk to them, you always feel better about yourself. Another place too, I don't know if you're a member of a church community, excuse me, but that would be an amazing place to meet people. I'm sure, you know, if you are, there are other ministries that are there. Most churches have something for women specifically. And then maybe there are other support groups. So we can talk offline. If you want to send me a private message, let me know exactly where you are. If that is Kingston, Jamaica, Harborview, Kingston, Jamaica. And we'll see what they may have there. Maybe there's a Google search. I'm sure you can do a Google search, honestly. Worst case scenario, just Google it and see what you come up with. Excuse me. You guys know for the past couple of days I've been struggling with a cold. And so today is my coughing day. The other days were my like sneezy and runny nose days. So today is coughing. Excuse me while I cough. So that's what I have for you today. Okay. Number one, find time to get in the presence of God. I suggested that app Abide is the app that I use personally. I feel like, you know, I need to call these Abide people and tell them like, I should be a spokesperson because I love your app and I talk about it to everyone. But it's not about that. Honestly, it's an amazing app that really just helps you quiet your mind and get into the presence of God, which is requirement number one for great self-care, because you want to have that connection with your Creator. Requirement number two is to be able to ask for help. You cannot, should not, will not do it all. So stop trying. I'm speaking to myself too. Number three is connect with other people. Again, whether that's a quick phone call, have a list of people that always lift you up, encourage you, support you, make those phone calls to them on a regular basis. Or if you can, get out and meet new people. You can become refreshed by meeting people, especially if you're going to an organized event. It's going to automatically attract like-minded people that are going to encourage you and support you because you all are striving for the same thing, right? And so if you do happen to be in the United States, if you do happen to be in the New Jersey area, definitely check out some of my events if you're trying to find ways to meet new people. Any event that I have will be listed on this Relatable page. And then for sure also check out Eventbrite to see what's happening there. And I'm sure you can even search right here on Facebook for other events that may be local to you. So hope this has been helpful. It has been great to do this series with you. We are done. We are done with this topic. But if you are not already a member of my Happily Married Woman Facebook group, it's a private group for married women, I encourage you to join me there because I'm actually going to be doing a challenge there very, very soon. I put out a post for the members of that group to vote on what topic they wanted me to be addressing during our next challenge. So hop on over there, Happily Married Woman. You can request to join, answer a few preliminary questions, and then we can definitely continue this conversation over in the group. Thanks so much for tuning in. Share this broadcast if you found it helpful or entertaining or worth sharing in any way. I would so appreciate you helping me to spread this message of self-care. All right, have a great, great Friday, and I'll be back with you sometime soon. Bye.